Alexis, curious what the market is like right now in terms of the hirings and the firings within the hedge fund world.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm happy to be here to answer any questions that you may have on that. I think that the key hiring areas are going to be restructuring, special situations and event-driven portfolio managers, secondaries, and lower and middle market firms. I say restructuring because this is the first time in over a decade where that experience is very valuable. Hedge funds typically favor hiring the young and up-and-coming portfolio managers, and I think in this cycle we're going to see something drastically different. We're going to see value on more senior candidates who have been through 2008 and who have significant restructuring experience. I think on the special situation side and event-driven portfolio managers, they've been up about 2% more than average hedge fund performance, which has been relatively flat at 1%. So at 3%, these types of investors are certainly in demand as markets begin to correct themselves, and the skill set is certainly more attractive with volatility. In the secondaries market, this is where we touch upon private equity. Secondaries stand to benefit from adverse markets, and I think that this will be a new hotspot for private capital allocations, last year being a record year at $30 billion raised for this strategy. So I think there are lofty expectations in capital raising for 2020, calling for potential fundraisers. And I think that the success and the anticipation for good performance certainly bolsters the need for senior investment talent in that space.
Yeah. Alexis, you very clearly outlined some of the expertise, experience that's needed in a time such as this. I'm interested in your take also on the drive for diversity, the conversation that we're trying to have a lot here on this program about ensuring that there's equality when it comes to hiring practices as well. Are now hedge funds coming to you saying that we need a diverse array of candidates as well, ensuring that they do reflect what America looks like at the moment?
I'm so happy you asked that. I'm thrilled to say that most hedge funds have come to us saying, please continue to send diversity. We recognize that we have to create a better level playing field for candidates, and we respect the cultural dialogue. There's certainly an awareness and the need to elevate and promote employees internally without bias. And the change in the HR process is notable. And I know that several hedge funds have actually made private contributions to these causes, if not come out and said something to the effect of their support.
So, Alexis, when we talk about, I want to talk about some of the factor investing out there that's been taking place, because with all the market turmoil, some of those factors flipped one way, flip back the other way. You have a lot of folks out there in the hedge fund community sort of chasing that alpha, trying to find an edge up, but everyone either seems to be just following the same pattern as everyone else because that's where the safety is, and the few people who maybe do go on the limb get burned. I'm wondering how much diversification are you seeing with regards to the different factor strategies out there, particularly with some of these quant funds, and whether they're able to sort of stand on their own, or are we just in a kind of a world where you just have to kind of just go with the momentum?
I'm happy that you asked that. It's a very difficult market right now because very smart analysts with sound fundamental theses have been thrown for a loop, given that there's been no market correction until recently. And even so, we still have a long way to go. So some of the best analysts that we've seen have not performed well, which is why special situations has been such an interesting spot to build upon for many funds. However, we do continue to see the big multi-strategies outperforming the Citadels, the Millenniums, where it's essentially a game of revolving chairs. And because of the diversity and because they're market neutral and they have limited tolerance and risk limits, we will see better performance from those funds.